Shalom. First off, we give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wachar Kodash, giving double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who teach the truth of these scriptures, who have brought a lot of us in this truth up, and giving peace, love, and salutations unto those of you part of those 12 tribes of Israel, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans who are striving for salvation, striving to see a downfall of this kingdom, and the men, women, and children that follow in truth and in sincerity. So this lesson I want to bring out is going to be based off of how essential it is to have faith in the face of adversity, how essential it is to have faith in a time of trouble. And, first off, the story that I want to go into is David and Goliath, because that is a perfect example of, in the face of adversity, in the face of seeming like something's impossible, how important it is to have faith. So first I want to, just go into that. It's 1 Samuel chapter 17, verse 4. It says, "And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines." So just for context, right now there's a war going on between Israel and the Philistines. Simple as that. And Saul is the king of Israel, and he's leading this army. So let's read this again. So it says, "And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines, named Goliath of Gath, whose height was 6 cubits and a span. And he had an helmet of brass upon his head, and he was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass." So let's give some understanding to this. So Goliath, it says that his height was 6 cubits and a span. So if you look up 6 cubits and a span, it's agreed upon with a lot of people that correct measurement of what it would be in today's time is 9 feet and 6 inches tall. So to give you some comparisons of height, the average man in the world is 5'9". The tallest man recorded in modern history was 8'11". A regular ladder is 10 feet tall, and Goliath is 9 feet and 6 inches. So he's almost the height of a ladder that, like, construction people, you like the tall ladder. And it says that his coat was the weight of 5,000 shekels of brass. So here, let me go ahead and get that, because I had looked it up and I can't remember exactly how much it weighs in pounds, but we're gonna go ahead and get it right now. 5,000 shekels of brass. So let me see. So 5,000 shekels of brass would be about, okay, so 5,000 shekels of brass, his coat alone was 78 pounds. And if we read on, it says, "And he had greaves of brass upon his legs, and a target of brass between his shoulders. And the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron." And if I remember correctly, 600 shekels of iron would weigh 30 pounds. So the end of his spear weighed 30 pounds, and a spear is a weapon that isn't very hard to carry. People who carry spears, it's a very free form weapon. You can do a lot with it. You can move around easily. A spear. So his spear was 30 pounds at the end alone, along with his coat, his armor alone, his chest plate of armor alone was 78 pounds. So imagine the things they had on his legs, the things that they had on his shoulders, his helmet. This was a big dude, and he was very strong, and he wasn't hard to miss at all. So with that being said, let's read on. It says, "And he stood and cried unto the armies of Israel, and said unto them, Why are ye come out to set your battle in array? Am not I a Philistine, and ye servants to Saul? Choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. If he be able to fight with me and to kill me, then will we be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then shall ye be our servants and serve us." So This is Saul just calling out Israel, asking for a one-on-one fight. So it says, reading going down to verse 11, it says, when Saul and all Israel heard those words of the Philistine, they were dismayed and greatly afraid. So Saul, the king of Israel, along with everyone in that army, all of them were afraid to fight against Saul. These are all grown men, and they didn't want to fight Saul. But if we go to some scriptures, let's go ahead and get Proverbs chapter 24, verse 10. It says, if thou faint in the day of adversity, thy strength is small. And that's not talking about your physical strength. What is your true strength? Your strength is your faith in the Lord, because you get your strength through the Lord. Psalm chapter 144 verse 1 says, I'll go ahead and grab it because I don't want to butcher that scripture, man. That's one of my favorite scriptures. So Psalms chapter 141 verse 1. It says, blessed be the Lord Yahweh, my strength, which teacheth my hands to war and my fingers to fight, my goodness and my fortress, my high tower and my deliverer, my shield, and he in whom I trust, who subdueth my people under me. So that's who your strength is. That's who your strength comes from. You don't get your strength through just your physical countenance, because even the mightiest of men can be taken down through faith, through that strength that you get through the Lord, as we're gonna see in this story. So and I don't want to call it a story. This was a historical account. So let's go down to 1 Samuel chapter 17 verse 23. So it says, so actually we're going down in verse 24. So it says, and all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him and were sore afraid. And the men of Israel said, have you seen this man that is come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up. And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, what shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine, that he should defy the armies of the living power? So this shows out the gate, David had no fear of Goliath, because he had trust in the Lord. He had trust in the Lord shining his light down on Israel. He wasn't dealing with no heathen. He wasn't dealing with Goliath. No matter how big Goliath was, no matter how mighty Goliath was, David knew that the Most High was dealing with Israel. All you gotta do is trust in Israel. How is he gonna defy those who the Most High is dealing with, who the Most High has love for? So let's give more context, just extrapolating in this story. Let's get how old David was at the time. So David's age, Goliath. So it doesn't give a specific age in the scriptures, but it does say that David was young at the time. We're gonna go ahead and go here, so yeah, it called David a youth, and it basically compares David's youth to Goliath having a lot of experience and being seasoned in war. So with that being said, Goliath was obviously a grown man, but just using that comparison, you can extrapolate and just say that David was possibly a teen at the time. Probably hadn't even he was a young man. He was younger than these men of war that were in the nation of Israel, obviously. And so with that being said, this was a young man who had that faith in the Lord Yahweh. And so right out the gate, he's stronger than all these men of war, including Goliath. Why is that? Because he had faith in the Most High, and that's through what strength comes from. Strength doesn't come from your physical your physical physique. Hey, the scriptures say so like I'm gonna butcher it, but it says to what profit is basically your physical body. What's the point of having physical strength? Not saying that you should just let your body go and be unhealthy, but it's saying that that spiritual strength, that faith, that trumps over physical strength anytime, in any case, in any example. The Most High said all you have to do is have faith, the grain of a mustard seed, and you'll be able to rip a tree out the ground, man. That you and it all takes faith, you know. So if we read on, so this established that David has faith. David had that unwavering faith in the Lord Yahweh. He wasn't fearful at all. While these men in Israel were turning away and fleeing, in verse 24, it literally says that the men of Israel fled. So with that being said, David walked onto the battlefield by himself. That shows his unwavering faith that he had in the Lord Yahweh. So it says, this is verse 31. So it says, actually we'll go down to let's go down to let's go on to verse 33. So it says, and Saul said to David, thou art not able to go against this Philistine to fight with him, for thou art but a youth, and he a man of war from his youth. Yeah, and that's what I was mentioning right there when it compared David to Goliath. But Saul saying that right there showed that carnal mindset that he was in. He was obviously scared. A lot of people would be scared in this situation. It's not like adversity isn't intimidating. You know, it's hard to say that you wouldn't be intimidated by Goliath's stature. You wouldn't be intimidated by how huge of a man this was. But to think as carnally as that and say you can't fight this man, it all takes faith. You gotta remember that. Hey, David remembered, man, we are the nation of Israel. The Most High is dealing with us. As long as we, who had believed on the Most High and he forsaken him. You know, the scriptures say that. So let's read on. So it says, Salakia. Okay. So it says verse 35. Or we'll read on. We'll read Salakia. We'll go down because this is actually, you know, I'll just drop this because we all know how the rest of the story goes. You know, this is one of the biggest stories in the scriptures. We know how the rest of the story goes. You know, David. Saul was gonna give David, you know, some armor to fight with. He was gonna give him, you know, a sword, but David said, "Nah, I don't need that." So he took his sling and 5 stones, man, and he killed Goliath with that. You know, and this young man with a slingshot was able to kill this huge Goliath, and all it took was that faith. You know, and so we're gonna go ahead and get Sirach chapter 2 verse 2. It says, set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. And the reason why I wanted to go into this lesson in the first place is that story right there, that scriptural account is a testament to the faith that we have to have in the times that we're coming into and the times that we're in right now, because we're in Jacob's trouble. Well, we're heading into Jacob's trouble right now. You know, and it says, the scriptures say, make not haste in time of trouble, because the nation of Israel, you could say that they were in a time of trouble at the time. Goliath is the Philistines' top leading soldier. He's in the front of the battlefield, and he's like, if anybody can take me, then let's go. But if y'all lose, y'all have to be in servitude under us. That they were troubled, they were scared, and they made haste, they fled. You know, so the scripture says, set thy heart aright. What is your heart? Your heart is your mind. So you have to set your mind aright. Set your mind aright on what? Set your mind aright on the Most High. In these times of trouble, it's essential to remember scriptures. It's essential to remember what the scriptures say that you have to do in those times of trouble. Because, what does the scripture say? Let's get Hebrews chapter 11 and verse 6. It says, but without faith it is impossible to please him. For he that cometh to the Most High must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of them that diligently seek him. So you gotta really believe that the Most High is going to act out what he says he's going to act out. And the Most High said, hey, if you trust in him, then he got you. If you show fear unto the Most High, if you show reverence unto the Most High, then he got you. If you are dealing righteously, the Most High is going to stay with you. He's going to have your back. That's what the scriptures have said. And so that's the type of things that you have to remember in those times. Hey, the times that we're coming into, we're about to come into times of famine. We're about to come in and into times of martial law. You know, we're about to come into times where it's gonna be hard to just walk around outside, because people, there's gonna be no order. Things are gonna be chaos. You know, our neighbors are gonna be against us. People are gonna be trying to run up in our houses. Is gonna be all over the place, man. You know, and it's gonna be either you deal with that and you have faith that the Most High is gonna deliver you out of it, or your faith wavers, and you already know what the other option is going to be. That other option is going to be that RFID that's about to come out here soon. And that's exactly what a lot of people who don't have faith is going to turn into, because the 2/3 of the nation of Israel, which are going to be those who aren't who don't receive that salvation, though a lot of the population of the 2/3 are going to be those of the nation of Israel who takes that RFID. And if you take that RFID, that shows a lack of faith, because a lot of people are going to take it because they won't have faith in those times. Hey, this vaccine that's going on right now, people are taking this vaccine for a lack of faith. And this shows this trial run right here with these booster shots and these just all of this going on regarding this vaccine. This is a trial run to see how people are gonna act when that RFID comes out. We already see how people are folding under pressure and breaking, and it's gonna be all over the place, man. Their faith is gonna fail. But for those who remember these scriptures, the scriptures say that wisdom and knowledge are gonna be the stability of our times. And not just any wisdom or knowledge, not just being smart, wisdom and knowledge into these scriptures. And for those who are studying these scriptures right now, those who are building up their spiritual gas tank, they're going to have that wisdom and knowledge so that they can be delivered. The Most High is going to stay with them, because we're in these times, we're going to be able to remember these scriptures about faith, these scriptures about having faith, the grain of a mustard seed, these scriptures about trusting in the Most High. We're going to remember these things in those times when Jacob's trouble is in full effect, and we're going to be all good. Because at the end of the day, as long as we trust in the Most High, he'll have our back, just like it showed in the story of David and Goliath. You know, but that's why I want to bring out this lesson. You know, with that being said, once again, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wachar Kodash. Again, giving double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach the truth of these scriptures. And again, giving peace, love, and salutations unto those of you who are part of those 12 tribes of Israel who are striving for salvation, striving to see a downfall of this kingdom, and the men, women, and children that follow in truth and in sincerity. So with that, I want to say shalom.